How's it going, guys? Cody back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, this video, as you can see from the title below, is about a rapist who is back behind bars after beating a mother of four following his release from prison for rape. Everybody knows my thoughts, my opinions on sex offenders, paedophiles and rapists. Four things you don't want to be in prison: paedophile, rapist, grass, or a child killer. Right. So I'm going to read this story, guys. I'm going to do my bit at the end. This is a story in the Daily Mirror. Link in the description below, like you always do. Headline reads: Rapist back behind bars after beating a mother of four following her release from prison. Brendan Jackson, that skinny scumbag you can see at the start, age 32, had served only 6 years of a 13-year prison stretch for 2 rapes, attempted robbery and assault with a weapon back in 2012. 2 rapes, guys. A convicted double rapist was back behind bars today after he subjected a mother of four to a savage beating just months after being released from prison. Brandon Jackson, 32, had served only 6 years of a 13-year prison stretch. After his release, he battered Stacey Peak with a crowbar and repeatedly choked and throttled and kicked her after she caught him trying to get in through her kitchen window armed with 2 knives. Miss Peak, who had only been an on and off 18-month relationship with Jackson, lost a tooth and was left with cuts and bruises in the attack, which only ended when her terrified 13-year-old son ran to neighbours for help. Police inquiries revealed Jackson, who had 73 previous convictions on his record, had 2 knives hidden in his waistband of his shorts at the time of the assault. In August of 2012, he had been jailed for 13 years after being convicted of 2 rapes and unrelated offences of attempted robbery and assault with a weapon. But he'd been freed in 2018 after serving around 6.5 years, including time spent on remand whilst awaiting trial. He was recalled to jail to finish the rest of his sentence following the attack on Miss Peak in December of last year. At Manchester Crown Court, Jackson from Rochdale, no surprise there, admitted assault occasioning actual bodily harm and using violence to gain entry to a property. He was branded a dangerous offender by a judge, but he was only given a further 20 months in prison, which will run alongside his current stretch. The court heard that the pair had been friends for up to 20 years, but began dating after he was freed from jail. She was aware of the history and social services. She was aware of his history, and social services suggested the relationship should not continue. But trouble began on December the 13th when Jackson turned up at Miss Peak's home in Little Alton, Salford, to find she was in the company of another male friend. It led to a fight between the 2 men outside, and Jackson fled the area when he learned police had been called, but returned in the early hours of the next morning. Miss Kate Gaskell, prosecuting, said she described the defendant banging on the windows for about an hour and a half, asking to be let in. She locked all the doors and windows in the hope that he would eventually give up and go away. She heard, however, a smash and realised her kitchen window had been smashed. And in going into the kitchen, she saw the defendant climbing through, clutching his hand on a crowbar. She described taking the crowbar from him and hitting him to stop him coming through the window. She then went to the back door in an attempt to pull him out of the window. She was then hit in the face with a crowbar or brick and was struck hard to the back of her face. He was behaving angrily and aggressively towards her. Miss Peak managed to get to her garden gate, but she was dragged by him, so she ended up on the floor. She was strangled, kicked and punched about her body. Miss Peak's 13-year-old son, who saw the incident, ran out of the front door to get help from neighbours, who eventually intervened. She was bleeding profusely and had numbness to her face. Police found her in a neighbouring house, incredibly distressed. Jackson was found inside the property, acting aggressively inside the house. He was arrested, and during a search, he was found to have 2 knives in the waistband of his shorts. It was a sustained and repeated attack on Miss Peak in her own home, in the presence of her children, who would have heard the mother's distress. Miss Peak suffered bruising to her right cheekbone and under her right eye, cut to her lower lip, and a broken tooth, which initially she mistaken, though she had swallowed during the assault. She had pain to her foot due to walking over broken glass and pains to other parts of her body. She later told police Jackson had initially been kind and loving towards her and said he had never previously been violent towards her. She said she was left exhausted and mentally drained by Jackson, and her anxiety was through the roof. In mitigation, defense lawyer Virginia Hayton said her client had symptoms of bipolar disorder and ADHD. He acknowledges his relationship was doomed from the start. He apologizes for his deplorable behavior and know it must have been frightening for the victim. He did not know the children were there, but this is extremely sorry for them having to witness what they did. Sentencing Judge Timothy Smith told Jackson, "It was a nasty and sustained assault on your partner. She was hit to the ground with a crowbar, dragged around the garden, and she described being strangled by you and kicked. It was in the presence of your children and at their home. Your position is aggravated by a significant antecedent history. Your previous behavior towards partners, your use of violence continues to show sign to remain a significant risk of committing serious harm towards others. It is clear to me that you are regarded to me as a dangerous offender." Jackson was also made the subject of an indefinite restraining order banning him from contacting the victim. Fucking hell, they really wrote that story in depth, right? This is the scumbag we're talking about, guys. This is the scumbag. Look at the state on that. Fucking hell. From Rochdale. Tells you everything you need to know. Now, first thing off the bat, right? Now, I would normally read this story and my heart would normally go out to Miss Peake. But it doesn't. And the reason it doesn't, guys, I don't condone domestic abuse in any which way, in any regard, right? However, this woman, who he'd known for 20 years, it clearly stated in this story that she knew about his history, i.e. being in prison for 2 rapes, right? An assault and robbery and all these things, right? But the rapes, she's got children, and she let a convicted rapist into her house, had sex with him, got in a relationship with him, and was around her children. So I'm sorry to say this, guys, and like I said, I don't condone domestic abuse, but I'm sorry. This woman put her children at risk. She put herself at risk by taking in 73 convictions this guy's got, right? He was a double rapist, right? Social services were involved. They told her, end the relationship. She continued the relationship, right? That woman's children should be in care, in my opinion. You're not safeguarding your children. You're letting a convicted double rapist into your home. Social services are involved, and you continued the relationship. Now, like I said, I have to specify and I have to level out. We don't know the full details, but it clearly states there she knew his history, guys. So answer me a question. Any women on here? Number 1, would you entertain a person that's been done for rape on 1 occasion? No, you fucking wouldn't. Never mind 2. When social services are involved, right, and they're telling you to end the relationship, right, because you're not safeguarding your children, the social services, worst case scenario, can take your children from you. And unfortunately, there are women out there that lose their children because they'll pick a violent or a sex offender over their children. I swear to God, rapists are on par down in the gutter with paedophiles. And like I said, and then she knew his history. She'd known him 20 years. She'd know he was in prison for double rape and violence and all these things, right? Look at the state of him. I would fucking love to be locked in a cell with this scumbag. Absolute scumbag, mate. Right? Just look at the state of the fucking muppet. Right? Absolutely. Just Brandon Jackson. Right? Like I said, I used to live in Rochdale. I used to live on Newbold. I went to school in Rochdale, yeah, man. I used to run drugs up there. I used to run doors over there. But yeah, what fucking hell. I'm not being funny, guys. Right? This guy, he's bipolar and ADHD. Right? My mum thinks I've got ADHD. I don't go around fucking raping people. Right? He's bipolar. So that excuses him raping people and being violent to people. But like I've said, this woman, ordinary, I'd read this story and I'd be like, oh, my heart goes out to the woman. The woman's a dick. Oh, well, yeah, he's a double rapist, but I think, like, some crimes can never be forgiven. And I've said it 1,000 times. You cannot rehabilitate a sex offender, specifically a paedophile. But for me, rapist, this guy's a double rapist, guys. Like I said, he might have got away with other rapes. We simply don't know. But what a danger to children, what a danger to women. And she knew his history. She'd known him 20 years. She knew why he was in prison. Oh, we're getting a nice little relationship. And he'd never been violent previous. But he's got a history of violence and he's attacked other girlfriends. But it's the first time he'd been violent with her. Like I said, guys, some people are very insecure and they will get with anything and anybody. In doing so, putting their children at risk and putting themselves at risk. I'm sorry, but she's a fucking idiot. He's a dirty fucking scumbag who should never be released from prison. He'll be in prison, guys. He'll be on the numbers. Probably sat in Forest Bank on protection on C2 or on H2. On protection, riding the numbers because shit scared of general population. Because if this, and it is this, I say man, right, it's no man at all, him, look at the state of that. Put him in general population and let the boys deal with him, prison style. I cannot fucking stand stupid women. Known him 20 years, knew his history, took him into the home, social services were involved. No, finish the relationship. Could have lost the children, but she carried on with this guy. He ends up battering her. Like I said, sympathy, absolutely none. Him, scumbag, hope he dies in fucking prison. Right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think about the video. Let me know if you knew that someone was a convicted double rapist, right, and has been violent to other women and everything else. Would you have him in your home, around your children, knowing he's a convicted double rapist, and that's all we know, that they're the only crimes that we know of? 73 previous offences. Let me know what you think, guys. Put your comments in the comment section below. Leave it there, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.